Same 5 foods, every meal. A tantrum if anything new touches the plate. If you are nodding along right now, take a massive deep breath. Welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to hand you an evidence-based roadmap that actually fixes this picky eating phase. And the best part, we're going to do it without turning your dinner table into a battleground.
Seriously, if this sounds exactly like your house right now, I need you to hear this loud and clear. You are absolutely not alone. And more importantly, you are not a bad parent. This is such a universal struggle, you know? But the really good news here is that there's a clear, proven way out of this cycle.
So how do we actually pull this off without the nightly standoff? Well, we do it by completely flipping the dynamic at the table. We're going to walk through a specific, step-by-step plan that totally eliminates the crying, the bargaining, and the flat-out fighting. Okay, so it all starts with understanding something called food neophobia. Your kid's refusal to eat? It's not them just being stubborn, and it's definitely not some evil plot to test your patience. It's actually a well-documented, completely normal developmental phase that usually peaks right between ages 2 and 6. Evolutionarily speaking, it's a protective instinct. Your toddler's brain is literally wired to fear unfamiliar things so they wouldn't, wander off and eat poisonous berries in the wild.
Now, because we love our kids and want them to be healthy, our very first instinct is usually to pressure them, right? Or we bribe them with dessert, or we try to sneak pureed veggies into their mac and cheese. But research shows these tactics actually backfire. They entrench the refusal. Instead, the evidence points to a totally different approach. Calm exposure, parent modeling, and absolutely zero pressure. That's the secret sauce for building lasting acceptance. And I want you to burn this number into your brain. 8 to 15. Research shows that a child often needs up to 15 neutral, pressure-free exposures to a new food before they'll even think about accepting it. Just let that sink in. If you offered peas, say, 3 times and gave up because of a tantrum, well, you haven't even scratched the surface of the exposure process yet.
Which brings us right to our roadmap. We call this the BRAVE plan. It's a parent-led 5-step exposure strategy that basically treats a new food exactly like a fear that we conquer gradually together. Let's break down how you can easily roll these 5 steps out at home.
Step 1, repeated low-pressure taste exposures. You just got to keep reoffering tiny, totally non-intimidating tastes of those new foods right alongside their accepted favorites on the plate. Remember, acceptance can take 10 or more tries. And the golden rule here, keep quiet. Don't make a big deal out of it, don't hover, just let the food exist in their space day after day.
All right, step 2 is parent modeling. Look, you can't put broccoli on their plate while you're eating a completely different meal. Your child needs to actually see you, and ideally their siblings or friends, eating and genuinely enjoying that food. Once they observe that the food is safe and actually tastes good to you, that primal neophobic instinct really starts to calm down. Moving on to step 3, this one focuses on rewards, but with a massive caveat. They have to be non-food rewards. If you bribe them with ice cream, it basically just teaches them that the vegetable is a terrible chore they have to suffer through to get a treat. Instead, use a sticker or give them super enthusiastic praise for taking a brave bite. We want to reward their courage, not their calorie consumption. Now, step 4 is arguably the hardest one for us as parents. You have to remove pressure entirely. A relaxed table is actually part of the treatment here. It's not a luxury. That means you have to banish phrases like, just one more bite, or you can't leave the table until your plate is clean. The battle itself is literally what makes them hate the target food. And step 5 is simply to involve them. Let your child pick out a strange new vegetable at the grocery store, or have them stand on a stool and help wash it in the sink. It entirely changes the dynamic. It gives them a sense of control and allows for safe, non-threatening contact with ingredients way outside the pressure cooker of having to sit down and actually swallow them. But I know some of you are listening to this and thinking, okay, but my situation is way beyond a normal picky phase. So we really have to ask, what if the refusal is extreme and it's actually starting to impact their health? Well, we have to address that escalation, because sometimes this does go beyond a standard developmental phase and becomes a serious clinical issue.
For those really extreme cases, there's a highly effective emerging treatment called SPACE-ARFID. That stands for Supportive Parenting for Anxious Childhood Emotions, Adapted for Avoidant/Restrictive Food Intake Disorder. Quite a mouthful, I know, but what's incredible is that it relies on the exact same graduated exposure logic we just talked about in the BRAVE plan. The difference is, it actively coaches parents on how to systematically reduce their own accommodations to that severe food avoidance.
It is absolutely vital to recognize the warning signs of ARFID. We're talking major weight loss, severe nutritional gaps, extreme panic-level distress at meals, a fear of choking or vomiting, or a rapidly shrinking tiny range of accepted foods. If you're seeing these signs, it's time to step away from the DIY home methods and consult a pediatrician or a feeding specialist.
But for the vast majority of parents who are just dealing with that standard developmental phase, structured tools at home work absolute wonders. Using an app like Fear Me Not can really help you and your child build that brave plan together. It basically gamifies the whole process, letting you track those brave bites and visualize their progress in a really supportive, pressure-free way.
A core piece of that plan is something called the taste ladder, and this completely redefines what a successful meal actually is. You start right at the bottom, just looking at the food, then maybe touching it, then smelling, licking, and finally tasting. You have to let your child set the pace here. Moving up even a single step, like going from just looking at a carrot to being brave enough to smell it, that is a massive victory, and it should be treated like one. Which brings us to our final and honestly most important takeaway. Celebrate the effort, not the cleared plate. I want to leave you with this thought to hopefully transform your mealtimes. What would happen tonight if you completely stopped caring about how much food was left on the plate and solely celebrated the bravery it took your child to engage with it? Try it out, be patient with the process, and watch the dinner table battle just disappear.